I'm waiting a long time to have the effects on my own channel. Crap showed me how to do that a week ago. Shame on me. Welcome to CrossFire Podcast, everybody. This is a great episode. Thanks to a couple. I got my usual suspects here, of course, with Dreyer Smith, who will now be known as Dre. He's trying to do hip-hop in the U.S. from South Africa, so we thought we'd change his name up so we can get him a couple sponsors. And Graphic God, who makes everybody look good on the YouTube community. But our visitors tonight are Crap Gamer and Rand. Crap is well known for Xbox Nation, BGST,
being really compelling and all that kind of stuff.
And all that. He's the Howard Stern and Albino Rhino of the YouTube community.
Yeah.
And Rand is known for, if you don't know Rand, tune into E3. There's a good chance he'll be walking across the stage like a high school graduate, getting a handshake and a diploma from Phil Spencer. He's going to be crossing the Million Point March this upcoming June, hopefully, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mooch.
So, without getting any more, I want to hear the panel's feelings, their gut feeling, their explosion. We've been on Twitter all day just yelling at everybody in the world. VR, right? So VR is the hot subject, so let's talk about it. Personally, I think VR is not only a gimmick, but I think it's something the media is spoon-feeding us. It's something that they want us to pick up on. A lot of companies seem to be invested in it. And I'm not talking just about Sony. I'm not just talking about Oculus. Looks like Samsung's involved. Looks like Android's involved. It looks like different companies are all getting involved. So with this big push monetarily by all these big companies to get VR out there, it looks like maybe the media is getting a couple of bucks in their pocket to make it sound like it's something that the public should be interested in. Crap, what do you think? Start with you as
you know what? I see an unprecedented media push for this, and I don't exactly understand why. And the reason why I say that is because when Kinect came out, there was right away a lot of resistance from the mainstream gaming media and from a lot of hardcore gamers. Hardcore gamers said, oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to be trashy. It's going to suck. What can they do? It's we don't want that. We want these studios to focus on bigger, the regular games, the core games. Core gamers only want a game with a controller. They don't want to flail their arms around and all that. That was all the stuff I heard to counter Kinect. It's expensive. Kinect originally was like $150 on the 360, which was kind of expensive at the time. Had it been any more than that, I wouldn't have bought it. And to see Oculus is going to be $600, and that's not counting the rig that you need to run it. You have to have a very good rig to run it. And then PlayStation VR, they're already the positive things. Oh, well, Sony could be the White Knights if they come out with, if they come out at $500, then they're the White Knights. You know what I mean? But imagine this. Say they come out with it and PlayStation VR is $500. That's still more than the PlayStation 4 itself. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're basically saying, okay, pay, just as an example, $500 for this thing, right? And then you pay what's a PlayStation 4, like $350?
$350 right now, yeah.
Okay, so that's already $850, and that's not counting that this PlayStation VR doesn't come with the headset. Right. Like we were talking about that today. They probably will want to sell you the official PlayStation headset. That's another like $70-$80. So next thing you know, you're already cruising around $1,000, and that's before you even get any games. And the games that they're pushing are like these weird little party games, these very casual kind of goofy games. There's nothing really that I would consider to be like a big AAA experience, a lot of on-rails things, but you don't hear the media say that, and I think that it's a little bit contradictory because it's just as casual, if not more so, than the Kinect was, and at least Kinect tried to come out with some hardcore stuff. There was that Star Wars game that actually had a decent story mode on one of them, and there was like the Fable, the Journey, which was actually, I like the story in that, but there's a lot of different similarities. But between these two, but they're treated vastly different in the media and the public eye. So I think that that's unfortunate, and I'm waiting to see what the price is for this because not that I ever wish anything to fail, but if you're a hardcore gamer, you'll want this thing to fail pretty quickly so that they can get back to work on some AAA games for the actual hardcore gamer.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I want to hear, one thing you left out, Crap, is that we don't know anything, actually. I shouldn't say do we. What about the move sticks? What about the Sony Eye? I heard those are imperative for this thing to coexist. Dreyer, do you have any, Dre, you got anything on that? What's happening? Do we need to have all these accessories to make this thing work?
Well, okay, you'll have to have the the PlayStation Eye, but the move sticks is not mandatory.
Okay.
So if you have the PlayStation, you'll have to get the Eye, and that's $50.
Yeah.
And then the PlayStation, I think they might bundle those two things together because it's mandatory. So if you have an Eye, then sorry for you. Then you'll have two. And you can plug both in, and then NSA can watch you in 3D or something.
The NSA only watches you if you have a Kinect, dude, not an eye.
Right.
Well, at least the NSA won't see your face. But anyway, so
But I mean,
they'll probably bundle that, and then with the external CPU device, that will be included in there. So I'm on the fence here. I'm saying this thing will be like $600, $700 for that thing.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with this. But there's something else that we're leaving out, though. There's the whole fact that, like, the concept here is that there's way more hardware in this package that Sony's putting together. That's the thing that no one seems to be seeing. The Oculus is going to depend on your rig, okay?
Yeah, the Oculus is just the headset. I think there's this weird camera thing that watches you as well. I don't know what. It's like this thing on a stand. But basically, it's just the display on your face. Earphones for the sound, and then the camera thing. So in comparison to the PlayStation one, that one has an external CPU that what's the word? But yeah, it adds to your PlayStation, so that thing will be more expensive.
The processing unit.
The processing unit. That thing will be more expensive than the Oculus Rift. And if Sony cuts the price and comes in at a lower price just to make everyone happy, I don't see them surviving if everyone buys that thing.
Well, I like to think of Dreyer and Krapp as our media guys that really kind of watch the news. I'd like to hear it from a gamer's perspective. Rand, what's your take on, like, really what you think? How do you think the general gamer is going to take this? Not just the dollar amount, but the actual usability and the games that you've seen so far from the Sony camp, because Oculus has been a bit vague on their games. We know third parties working on some, but what's your take on the Sony VR?
Dude, VR to me is like almost kind of the ultimate gimmick, right?
Yeah.
It's like something that people have wanted when they think of like movies like The Matrix and stuff, where you're like plugged in and you're in this other world, but it's really nothing like that, right? You strap in that thing, and I don't know. I play a lot of games, but like it would be so awkward to sit in your chair or whatever and have this headset on your face while you're playing it. And like, so the whole thing is you're supposed to like be transported to this other world, but how can you be when you're just sitting there, right? Like if you wanted to like play like a first-person shooter, I mean, don't you kind of want to like actually like walk to move? But you're not going to be able to because you still got to use the controller. I'm still kind of thinking it's still like the experience. It's still kind of limited by the use of the controller, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're still controlling the game with the controller. You just have a TV strapped to your face now.
That's what it is. I think it's going to be more of a panoram versus a virtual reality.
Right, and like I mean, virtual reality could be big, but I don't think it's the big in the like maybe iterations from now, like 5, 6, 7 years, when they can do something like Sword Art Online, where you're actually there. I think that's what people want from VR, not this thing where you got $1,000 worth of equipment strapped to your head, where you're completely oblivious to the outside world. To me, that just I don't. It's well, I'll let Dreyer say what he's going to say.
Okay, yeah. So I think the Oculus Rift is in the best position for this thing because they came out with that price. They're basically saying that this is not a now thing, like Phil have said, and they are saying that like they don't want to make a big loss, but they just want to put it out there and see what the community does with this thing. Because the PC community, every person who buys that thing will probably know how to mod games and to make experiences for that. With the PlayStation, Sony is going to come out with, I'm going to guess they're going to charge like $40, $50 for each game. And it's not really a game, it's like an experience. And that's going to be like like this damn wall building up, and you won't be able to experience the same thing that PC is going to experience, because PlayStation is like this walled garden, and they want you to buy the games from them. You have to get all of these things. You can't mod things and experiment and all of that. So I think Oculus is the best option for VR, because they can build weird things like I've seen at CES. They've got all these weird contraptions where people are lying in this machine, and then they can wiggle their arms and fly and all of that. But with PlayStation, you won't see all of that.
Well, here's my other point. Years ago,
it's just gonna be 100-foot robot golf at $50.
Well, years ago, didn't Nintendo have these issues, and these letters went out, and there was warnings online about having the Wii remote go through the television? And we touched base on this on Xbox Nation on Wednesday, and I've been reiterating it throughout the week on Twitter and other podcasts that I think we're going to see a lot of memes and GIFs of people actually wearing this, and now people are going to be going through their 65-inch television. Because they claimed back in the day that Kinect, you can't use your Kinect without it being a certain amount of room in your living room. There needs to be a certain amount of what you call your bubble space, the space that's your own private space to be able to put your arms out and experience the game. Well, that's no more apparent than with VR. And now you're going to go ahead and put this thing on someone's face that completely takes them out of their living room. They don't know where they're standing if it's a stand-up game. You can't, and listen, there's a lot of people that listen to my podcast. There's a lot of people that listen to all of the shows that we're on and game with us that are adults, and we all know that we drink some adult beverages. Okay, so we have a couple of drinks, and now you put this thing on, you get a little tipsy. There is a bit of nausea still that's going on here with people that are experienced in the VR world. That they come out of CES. They've been saying that even this week, and all of a sudden you move forward, you could lose your balance and fall forward into your television. I know it sounds comical, and it's like, well, now you're stretching it. I'm actually not stretching it at all. I really think this is something that's an issue.
But Sony said that they are telling the developers that their experiences have to be made for the consumer to be sitting down. So how?
Okay, that's what Rand was just saying too.
Yeah, because there's all these wires connected to you. So if you're gonna tell the customer to stand up and play this game, flailing their arms with the move sticks, they're probably gonna trip over the wires, and the whole PlayStation is gonna fly off the shelf and everything. So it's gonna be bad. But so they have to sit down, and I don't see how this is gonna be that immersive. To me, it's just having a screen close to your face.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing. $150 was too much for Kinect. I don't see, and this is what kills me. Immediately, because the media says this, everyone goes, "Oh my God, this is genius." Oculus came out at $599. Sony's going to undercut them. This is not E3, people. This is not where you can just say Sony's going to do what they did to Microsoft and reduce the front number down by one variable. That's not what they can do here. They've invested a lot of money into this. So it's really, the old expression here, it is what it is. Whatever the cost is going to be, Sony doesn't have a lot of move. They can't move it. They don't have that kind of leverage. The other thing is this. Listen, everyone on this podcast, I think, is going to agree with me. But I'll speak for the masses here. A lot of people were looking forward to the new Killzone Shadowfall. There were some people that were looking forward to the Uncharted 4 when they thought it would be coming out sooner. So Sony could take the hit, initially on PS4 and reduce the price when Jack Tretton came out and do that move. They can't do that with this because there are not people waiting in line. There's not people waiting to play 100-foot golf. There aren't people waiting to play zombie killers in something that looks like a PS2 game. These games, Flying Bird or whatever that is, that looks like you're flying through a golf course through trees. Like, my point is that they can't say, nobody in their marketing team can say, listen, here's what we'll do. Reduce the price, and we'll make the money back up on software. You're not going to make money. No. Office Simulator, when's that going to sell 1 million copies? My point is they just don't have that kind of that strength. Yeah, you know what I mean? With software in this category, Jay Williams, graphic god, coming from a consumer standpoint. I mean, you got kids. What if your kids say, I want to get the Sony VR? What's your take on it?
It's hard to say because my kids are practically teenagers now. They spend more time on their phones than they do talking to humans. It's probably going to be much like it was when the Kinect came out. The Kinect came out, it was really cool at first. We all got drunk playing Kinect sports. I don't know if you guys did, but I did quite often. Flailed our arms around, punched your friends in the head by mistake.
I was a fan of Connect, the Fruit Ninja one.
Me too. Oh yes, we've had friends over with a few brews playing Fruit Ninja and a few other things.
I almost fell out of the window once playing Connect early on. So I was like, whoa! Lost my balance there for a second because you get into that shit. You're not used to kind of like playing games, moving around like that, and you get into it. Next thing you know, like shit happens. I remember the first time I played Fruit Ninja Connect. The next day, my arms felt like fucking I was hit by a truck. I couldn't. I was like, damn. I could see how people like use that as like to get in shape and stuff. Man, it was crazy.
A friend of mine, we sat down and drank probably a case of beer playing Kinect Sports Golf. We played 18 rounds of golf, and loaded at the end of it. But it was so much fun to even do that. But going back to what Mooch was asking, if my kids asked for this, I probably wouldn't get it because of what you're saying. It's not a thing you do with friends. It's a thing you do by yourself. You do it in a room with a helmet on and your goggles, and you can't tell anything except for what's going on in the game. To me, that is a very niche thing. It's for people that can afford to blow that extra money, and I think it's going to go the way of the dodo, just like 3D TV.
Well, here's my thing now. If that is what happens, the problem here is that Sony's not a company like Microsoft where they have expendable cash. So the problem is if they'd have invested everything into this for 2016, probably 2017, if they all of a sudden see at the end of 2016 this was a failure, for them to scratch it and go back to making regular games, you're not going to see any games coming out to the end of this generation for that console. This is literally. We all joke. All jokes aside, everybody. All jokes aside, this I think this isn't make or break. This is sustain or break for Sony. At the best, they're going to break even on this, and at worst, it could close them. Or they're going to have to look for someone to come in and invest. They don't have a lot of money, and this is where they're Sony, what is it, Santa Monica Studios and these other companies. No God of War 4 coming. You know what I mean? There's nobody. They have skeleton crews at Naughty Dog. They've closed others. There's no games coming because they're all making VR games. So if this is a flop, Sony's in trouble.
So I think they would probably sell 1 million in the first year, but they've also said that all the games that they are building for VR will be playable without the VR headset. So they are telling you that they are bringing 100 games out for the VR, but those games will be translated to 100 games for PlayStation 4 as well. So they are like covering both bases, but in a really lackluster way.
Oh crap! Get ready. Dryer's right. Crap. Get ready. You're about to get a whole new of useless games list.
Well, let me ask you this, guys. Okay, Sony is notorious, and there was a recent Crave Online article about this. They're notorious for dropping support of their add-ons for their main hardware, right? Then it listed all this stuff. So at what point do gamers say, "Oh my God, yeah, I'm going to get that VR"? I mean, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, why am I going to spend money on this when Sony's going to drop support on this, like they did 3D gaming, like they did Move, like they've done on pretty much, like they've done the Vita? Are you really trusting that Sony is going to support this thing enough to make your $500, $600, $700 investment worthwhile?
Right.
No, because you can tell, because I don't think Sony's even 100% fully behind it. I mean, even though they're putting it out and stuff, like you can tell they're not going all the way because where's the AAA? Where's their own franchise? What is Horizon Dawn? Why wasn't that VR? Right? Or where's Last of Us 2? Is that going to be VR? Because these games that aren't going to be. So just from that fact that Sony's not putting their big hitters or their biggest franchises as VR exclusives, you can tell they're hedging their bets.
Yes. Well put.
Because it'd be great. Be like, hey, you know what? Uncharted 4 VR only. At least you would know. Then Sony's like, all right, Sony took their biggest franchise and they made it VR only, right? Yeah. That would be fucking. That'd be like killer for them, because now if you want to play VR, you got to pick it up. But they're not. Like you said, like they're making games for PlayStation 4, and some of them will be VR enabled, right? So they're like, because I'm sure they know. I'm sure they have the data. Like $600 for Oculus. I'm sure Sony will probably come in at around $500 or $400. That's way too fucking expensive, in my opinion. Way too expensive, especially for new people looking to come in at it. So where they go to GameStop and they're like, I want to get PlayStation VR. Do you have a PlayStation 4, ma'am? Well, no. Okay, well that'll be $900 fucking dollars because you got to buy the system and the fucking stuff. There's no way. They might sell a million just because there's plenty of hardcore gamers like us, that will buy the product that when it comes out. Just like I'm sure Oculus will sell out its first shipment because there's a lot of hardcore PC gamers, but that is a tough sell. Because even with Oculus, you got $600 for the thing, not including taxes and shipping and all that stuff. Then you need like a $1,200 PC to run it properly. Yeah. Regular people, which is how this product is going to flourish in the future, have to be able to afford it, right? And regular people can't afford these ridiculous prices on this stuff.
Yeah, on PC especially, like I think it's more than half of the gamer base on Steam is running their games on 720p, so they won't be able to buy this thing. They don't have that system.
I mean, to be fair though, Microsoft didn't put any of their franchises on Kinect either, and that was.
Yeah.
I
and
think
that's close to death now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think most of these companies don't have faith in these products. It's all just to bide time to the next thing. Like VR.
They did put
Fable, and Fable: The Journey was one of the better Kinect games, but still, like.
Actually, there was going to be that Gears of War strategy game that was going to be Kinect enabled, and then they canceled that. Who knows if that would have been for the better or not? But they didn't do the Halo. Like at first, when you heard about Kinect, people thought you would be able to be like sort of like VR. You move, and then your character moves, and you'd be able to do like first-person shooters and stuff. But it ended up not working that way. And so they overhyped it and under-delivered, and I think that's exactly what's happening with Sony right now. They're kind of hyping this thing up, and what I can't wait for is what are they going to do at E3? Do they have like a Hey Skittles moment where they have because look, Kinect didn't translate well on E3 stages. 3D didn't translate well on E3 stages, and VR certainly doesn't translate well. It's a boring thing, right? Yeah. So we're not going to be able to see that or experience that. So it's just going to be like these PS2 style games. How much time do they dedicate to their E3 press conference to VR? And that's going to probably bore a good number of gamers.
When is the E3 conference again?
June. I think it's 14th, I think. But you'll know how much Sony's into it because you can always tell what Sony's pushing by how much time they give it at their conferences. Like Vita always got like 2 minutes. So you knew Sony was like, yeah, whatever, screw the VR, right? So VR, you know how much they're behind it, depending on how much, like, it seems like the big game for VR, which they haven't announced anything for, but I would guess No Man's Sky is a launch game for VR. Like,
no.
You don't think
how can they get that on VR? No, because that thing can't even run on the PS4 without VR.
They've talked about it, and they've been really caged. I'm just saying, as a guess.
That was a good thought, Rand. The only thing is that there are reports that they can't even run itself on the PS4. So to be able to translate that into that may be complicated. Do I think you're right with your concept? Yes, I've read that, and I think that would be the only thing that would save that game. To be honest with you, is to be able to experience it firsthand through your eyes like that, because I think that game is as boring as shit. What's great, Rand, is you're an achievement guy. You have to be thanking God that's not coming out for Xbox.
Well, yeah, and like the difference with like the AR that Microsoft does, right? And like they picked the perfect game to demo that stuff. Like it seemed like Minecraft was almost made for augmented reality, right?
Yes. That's what they came out and said that, dude. They said they bought Minecraft, the IP, strictly for that. That was the reason they got that game.
So it's like you have augmented reality, which who knows if it'll be a hit or not, or even who knows when it'll come out. But like you have the biggest game in the world, Minecraft, and it seems tailor fit for the experience, right? But like VR, it's like, well, what's the game that's gonna push this? Like, what's the experience? Like, what is the selling? Is it just VR itself? Are people so enamored of being somewhere else that is the selling experience of product? I mean, I don't get it, man.
I'm not picking up on what they're putting down either. I don't know how I'm supposed to get excited. Listen, here's the other thing, okay? A lot of people that listen, there's a couple of people in the chat section that are just ass clowns too that don't understand. We are not, the majority of gamers, quote unquote, are not people that still get off the school bus when we get home. A lot of gamers are people that go to work every day. They work hard. Okay, they come home. I am not going to put. Would I try it out at a friend's house? Yeah. May I even think it was cool for 20 minutes? Absolutely. But so was the Power Glove. So was Robot Rob. So was that red thing we put our heads in, Virtual Boy. There's all these things, these gimmicky things were great for a couple of minutes, but then when you got done with it, you're like, yeah, no, I don't really want that. That's good. That's cool. Thank you. Use it.
The same thing happened with Kinect. It was cool for 5 minutes, and then after that, you used it once or twice.
Well, Dryer, the thing with Kinect, though,
voice commands.
I thought Kinect had legs with the voice commands, because to be honest with you, I never wanted Kinect for the games. I never did. But when I saw Kinect come out with Xbox One, I was genuinely excited because of the. All right, you pass the controller over to your other person. It changes the controls. It's got recognition.
When it was Project Natal, I was like super excited for it. I watched every video like 15 times, like thinking about everything that this thing could do based on that. And then when I got it, I was like, okay, Fruit Ninja, woo.
Right. But I mean,
Fruit Ninja was the shit. Quit hating.
It's probably still the most played game in arcades, if there are.
My kids were playing it last weekend.
Hey, I think I have 25 Kinect games like from the 360, something like that. Yeah.
With the virtual reality on the PC, the #1 game for that right now is Eve Valkyrie, and that's a game that I can see. It's like Elite Dangerous on Xbox One. It's the same thing, but having that on VR, you need a PC that's basically a 970 Ti and stuff like that. So I don't see No Man's Sky unless they run it at 720p, 30 frames a second on VR and make you throw up. That thing will not work on VR on PlayStation.
That's what's bothered me the most about VR, is especially Oculus, is that I'm a graphic guy and I need a high-end rig to do my job. And my rig wouldn't even run Oculus right now.
Yeah.
Jay, thank you for bringing that up. You do have a very powerful computer, and the fact of the matter is that even Oculus, a lot of times I've been letting Oculus go because the reason I let Oculus off the hook a little bit is I think Oculus, because they're associated with Facebook, they're trying to use that with other things in mind besides gaming, like HoloLens. HoloLens, great. You want to use it for Minecraft or a certain particular game that comes out in the future? Awesome. That's really, really cool. But you see the commercials for HoloLens that Microsoft puts out? It's in the medical field. Yeah. It's in architecture. It's in real estate. It's trying to say, okay, sit down. We're going to show you what this looks like. You know what I mean? This is what your home looks like when you're buying it over in Australia. You know what I mean? Like, there's different applications for this. And for some reason, the VR thing, it just feels it's already going to feel dated. The minute augmented reality comes out, VR already feels like it's yesterday's news. So how heavily invested do you want to get for gaming? Rand said it himself. Is Mrs. Jones going to go out to GameStop for her son, not with a PS4 in mind, and be like, I heard Sony's got virtual reality. It does. It's running all right. Oh, really? How much? Well, it would be $350 plus the $550, $650. I think it's going to be $600, maybe $550. $550 for the PSVR, and then you're going to need to get the move sticks and the eye, and then you got to get a game or two, and then you might just leave your Visa card at GameStop, and
you need to go down the street and get a loan from the loan shark to be able to afford it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have ever been I'm a parent, you go to GameStop, you go and buy games for your kids and stuff. A lot of parents are buying their kids used 360 games or used 3DS games. For like 10, 15, 20 bucks, because the kids don't know any better, and they don't care. They just and they're going to throw shit. They're going to break CDs. They're going to break discs. It's like we know that as parents. Do you feel like going and buying your kid who's 12 years old a $1,000 VR set? I don't think so. So, like you said, if it doesn't appeal to the masses in that regard, this is all. And listen, Dryer, you said it. They're going to sell I don't think they're going to sell 1 million in 2016 at all. But it'll be more than I think, less than what they think. And the problem is that's still a fail. They have 30-something million PS4s, quote-unquote, out there in the real world. Okay, if you do, then selling 1 million, and that's going to be your hardcore. Once your hardcore have it, it's going to be really, really a drastic drop after that in sales. It's not going to make it.
Yeah, and as soon as a hardcore gamer get their hands on this thing and they see the lackluster support for this thing from third parties and Sony with the games like the 100-foot golf, it's just gonna die because people will be like, "What did I spend my money on?"
Yeah, you know, it's
So
funny.
nobody else will
I
buy.
already asked that about the PS4 in general. I'm like, what did I spend my money on? Why did you get this? And I still have
Okay,
no logical
based
explanation.
based based on that, then they will sell about 20 million in 2 years.
Oh my God, I hope not. Could you imagine? If you can't live with Sony fanboys now, just imagine if this thing takes off. Jesus, you have to go hide in a bunker somewhere. Fuck.
And then we'll get the lists of VR games that's coming in 2 years.
Oh, I can hardly wait. Adrift. You're flying around in first person in space. Oh wow, 100-foot robots and.
Oh, the multiplayer flying game where
They would have to
you're
separate the games that make you throw up too.
Oh my gosh, man, that's just what I want, man. I get enough of a headache when I play PS4 with those low frame rates. I can't imagine playing with some fucking PS4 game with a damn thing strapped on my face, slinging around some dildos, man. That doesn't sound like fun to me. I don't know. You know what? That could be right up the people that buy PlayStation 4s though and enjoy them. That could be right up their alley because I'm gonna guess that they probably all swing. Maybe swing that way. I don't know. I mean, I'm not calling them all homosexuals. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. Hold on, I'm gonna back out of this comment right now.
Yeah. So basically, I'm like, when you want to buy the Oculus Rift, just I don't know how much a 4K 30-inch display costs in America, but why spend your money on the Oculus Rift? Just get yourself a 4K display and play your games on that. Don't get this thing that will all the sweat from your eyes will pour into the headset, and you'll have to swab the insides every 5 minutes because you were playing Call of Duty or something.
You make a good point. There's a guy that works in my office that is a huge PC gamer. He's got like a $4,000 computer in the office, and he's always I said, "Are you going to be getting Oculus?" And he's like, "No." No, he's like, I just bought this insane, I think it's like 8K. I think if you look at the actual, whatever the number is by number, it's like almost 8K. He put a lot of money into his screen. He's like, why do I not want to look at this beautiful thing? He's like, I want to see this. I don't want to see that screen that they're giving me that's even if it's $600, it's not going to be the equivalent.
Oculus Rift is like strapping yourself to your PC like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
I think the bigger issue is how much are the I know this is right up your alley, Mooch, but how much is the media, but how much is the developers going to push VR down our throats? And like, look at it like this. So the Wii was super successful, right? But like almost in spite of the press and all the developers, like developers are on record, they hated the Wii because they hated playing the Wii because they hated motion controls, right?
Right.
They wanted motion controls to die. Third parties didn't support the Wii even though it was like 100 million units or whatever, right? Because they wanted motion gaming to die, right? But here you have VR, and it's kind of really expensive, and nobody's really sure if it's going to work. But let's see, Sony's got their own version of VR. Oculus got that. Isn't Samsung got one? And isn't there one called Vive? And weren't there rumors Valve was doing one or something? Like there are and when you listen to all these developers talk, they're all like super excited for VR. You listen to the media, they're all super excited for VR.
Yeah, they are.
I think building games for VR would be easier than motion controls, but they'll have to optimize really well for that. So it's going to be a lot of work, and games for PlayStation 4 VR would be really basic, like PlayStation 2 type games, because of the power limitations there. So they probably would build more games for this thing, but it won't be like super realistic like on PC.
Right, but my point is that like they want it to succeed extremely badly, so they are going to push it and push it and push it until it succeeds. Unlike the Wii, where they wanted that thing to die as fast as it could.
Right. Well, look at who's driving the bus this time, Rand. You've got Sony and Facebook driving the bus.
Yeah. Well, Facebook,
Right?
I understand why Facebook won, because that's
Absolutely.
like, I can understand why Facebook is completely behind virtual reality. I mean, it kind of fits in, because you think about where they're going to go into the future. Well, like being able to like strap something on and be in like a chat room with your buddies or some stuff almost is like the future of Facebook. So I totally get why they did it. But like Sony, I don't know, man. Like they run a tight ship as is, right? Like they're not like Microsoft where they can absorb
loss.
So they're betting big on it, because I think they're just giving it the token support and hoping it breaks out huge, right? And so they get even more sales. But like secretly, I'm sure they're like thinking like, man, I don't know, like this comes out and it doesn't do well. At least we still have our games are doing regular for the PlayStation 4 that are going to sell millions of copies. I'm just kind of worried that. Because there's like an alternate timeline where like the Wii's the developers love the Wii, and we're all fucking playing around with like dildos, as crap said, like playing our games now, right? Like Call of Duty is now like an online game where you like waggle your stick around. Hopefully there's not this thing where like VR completely takes off, and that is the way you game going forward. Because
is Sony waiting till E3, guys, in your opinion, to reveal their price point?
Yeah.
Now, because
I think
their back's against the wall, isn't it? I mean, now everyone's like, put up or shut up, Sony. What are you doing?
Yeah. I think they'll reveal the.
Go ahead.
I think they will reveal the price at E3, but I think that VR is a viable gaming option. But in the case of PlayStation, it's not as open as the Oculus Rift system, and that's where they're going to fail a bit, because you have to be open when you release something that's new, that's untested, that's never been done before, basically. You have to be open to the developers to take that thing and do whatever they want with it. And PlayStation is not that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Sony's got to make every single game for this first party, where Oculus is going to have... It's basically the same thing that happened to the Wii U in this generation. If people are not understanding what we're saying, think of the Wii U. The Wii U is almost totally dependent. Third parties say they turn their back on them, whatever. Third parties not supporting the Wii U. Okay, EA's out. They're all out. Ubisoft is out. So if all these people are not making games for the Wii U anymore, Nintendo's got a lot of added stress now, because now every game and only any game is coming from the Nintendo studio. Sony's doing that same thing by making themselves, trying to make themselves relevant in VR. Everything's got to come from a Sony-owned studio or Sony-exclusive contract with a certain company. And Oculus doesn't have to do that. Oculus just says, here's our tool. Go use it. And bring back something that's amazing. That's why you had Ted Price from Insomniac Games, one of the first people to present before Phil Spencer even took Microsoft's on board with Oculus. And when you buy an Oculus, you get an Xbox One controller. So every time you open up and remember something, that Xbox One controller is branded. It's branded in people's minds. You take somebody who's not a gamer and you just hold up the controller and be like, what is this to? They'll say, I think it's an Xbox controller. You know what I mean? They may not say it's an Xbox, but they know what it is. They know it's an Xbox controller. They don't know if it's an Xbox One or 360 or an OG one, but they know it's an Xbox controller. So my point being is, every time somebody gets their Oculus package, when they open it up, bang, there's an Xbox One controller. There's going to be some idiots, and crap, let me use your term here, because everyone seems to be idiots these days. There's going to be some idiots that are going to open up that container and be like, Microsoft owns Oculus? I didn't even know that. So like that's going to happen.
Microsoft owns a few million shares in Facebook, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
What don't they own? I think they own my house. I'm not sure. They own everything. Jeez, but that's good. Well, that's what they're doing. Satya, his plan is to have his hand in almost anything in the world that has anything to do with Wall Street trading. Which is smart, That's why they can absorb things like Kinect. Kinect didn't work. They're like, so what? VR doesn't work. Can like, we're fucked. So there's a big problem here. And to get back to pricing, I don't think Sony can undercut Oculus. Oculus is better funded with Facebook as an owner. They've got more backers. They've got more third-party support, and there's less hardware involved. And by signing the contract with Microsoft, some of the components in your Oculus package are not costing Oculus any money. Microsoft's paying for that controller to be in there. Okay? So now Sony's got the processor, the cables, the headset. We don't know what else is going to have to come in that package. That
brick.
Right, the brick. I mean, you have all this stuff that's going to be in there. That costs a lot of money. How is it people are all assuming because two assholes at IGN said to you that, well, this is it. This is Sony's big chance to undercut them. Well, are you using any logic or mathematics or economics? Do you have any idea what you're talking about? Business models, business ethics, anything? Where are you coming up with this? How are they going to undercut Oculus when Oculus has better resource and money and they have less like actual hardware in their kit because your computer's doing most of the work?
And the thing is that Oculus also said that they are not making money on the Oculus Rift at this moment. So
that's right.
That price is less than cost. So if Sony, I don't know if they have like scrap metal at the back of their yard that they can quickly hammer things together and sell it at a lower price. But I think if they want this to sell 1 million at least, they're going to have to sell it at break even or maybe more a bit. But they won't be able to sell it at a loss because with the loss this holiday, they dropped the price of the PlayStation PlayStation 4, sorry, like twice, from $350 to $299. So, and I think the last quarter they made like $11 million profit on the gaming division, and with a big price cut like that, and they sold like 6 million consoles during the holiday. I don't see them being able to take another big hit like that on VR. So I'm still saying $700 for the PlayStation VR with everything included.
So you think
my
it's going to
price.
be $100 more expensive than Oculus?
I think he's actually being kind with that. If they can pull that off, I would actually say that that's a marvel.
Well, then why even? I don't know. Like, why even make the? If it's $700, let's just run with that, right?
Right.
Why even make the thing? The thing's gonna die. It's gonna be dead. It's not gonna be supported. Like, it's nobody's gonna buy. I don't know. Like I was also thinking
agree with you, Rand.
when Oculus put out their press release and like, hey, $600. Like, I was like, all right, Sony's gonna come out in a couple days and like, cause that's their MO and be like, hey, we're 400 or we're 500. We're because like the topic at hand, the big discussion was VR at the time.
Right.
And Sony was going to interject and be like, "Hey, we know those guys got 600. Hey, but ours is 400."
Yeah,
right?
right.
But they didn't, and they haven't yet. So I'm sitting there, it's like, we haven't done that yet. What if it's like really not cheaper or that much cheaper where they would actually spend? So what if they're just going to let time pass and like people forget about it, and then boom, E3 comes on. It's like, hey, it's 500 fucking bucks. Oh my, can you imagine like how it? Because I can't
maybe they are trying to get the prices down of the components or something.
Yeah, but there's like you've mentioned, look at all the stuff that comes with it. The headset, you need the camera, you need the processing unit. That thing's got to be minimum $400, right?
And we all know that Sony's going to Walmart and buying a whole crate of welding goggles and modifying them and a box of pant belts and things like that. So.
And in the history of console gaming, expensive peripherals that really aren't supported, well, especially expensive peripherals, they die. They die out fast because nobody buys them. Kinect sold greatly. They sold a lot of units, right? But I mean, Microsoft kind of gave it some support with some exclusive games early on, and then afterwards it was just, here's Just Dance, right? Here's a fitness game, whatever. I think they realized that I think more people bought it based on the hype alone than like an actual like, hey, I would like to play Gears of War with my hands and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think everyone just ran out and bought the thing.
Yeah, they bought the thing because it was hyped up, just like certain people
and it was
will go out and
affordable.
buy, but
and
it's
Microsoft had really cool videos.
Yeah, they did, and also it was $150. There's a big difference between a $150 peripheral and a $400 or $500 peripheral. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go on the line here. I'm going to give credit. Big shout out to @the Blu-ray King. He's a new guy to kind of big fan of BGST myself, and he says here I think PSVR will be $799.99. That's the number that was in my head for actually Oculus. And when I saw Oculus was able to come in at $600 with a loss, I'm like, I don't think Sony can afford that. Again, I'll say this again. very clear. You can only cut your hardware because people go, Mooch, Mooch, Mooch. They do it all the time. It's what they do. They always cut hardware. They cut hardware because they know you're going to buy Halo, Gears. You know you're going to buy Uncharted. You're going to buy Killzone. Nobody is really excited to play Office Simulator. They don't have that option this time, or whatever it is, Tron Frisbee.
And remember, like, the reason everyone was upset with the Oculus price was that they said around $350 for the Oculus Rift. And Sony also said around that time that the price would be around the same price as a console. So I think they were expecting Oculus to come out with that price, and they had to match that at least in some way. And now that the price is $599 now, Sony is like, okay, well, are we going to go at $350 and make that big loss, or are we going to make the price that we break even at least?
Well, here's the thing, though,
I think they'll be like, they're going to take this and go in break even, and it would be like $600-700.
Here's the thing, though, Dreyer. Even if they come in at $350, now Rand, this ties into you, okay? Even if they come in at $350 for the Sony VR, it's still going to fail. It's still too much money.
Yeah, it's still a lot of money.
Who wants to go buy another equivalent console? Nobody. Nobody. A lot of us already have a Wii U, PS4, and Xbox One. You want to go spend another $400 for Robot Golf?
Especially sight unseen. Like, you know, personally, I would want to at least try out VR before I make a final decision. I'm not going to go spend $400 on something I may not like, or something that might get me sick, or something that may not be supported, you know?
Right.
Like, when you buy the Xbox One, you know, it was $500, right?
Yeah, it was.
$500 day one. You knew, like, well, this is going to last me 6 years or 7 years, however long, and you're going to have hundreds of games to play, right?
Yep.
And, like, it's like, hey, you know, I played 360, PS2, PS1, like, it's a console. I know what it is.
Right.
But with VR, you're getting something completely different. Like, yes, it's something that plays video games, but you've never experienced VR. You know, your body may not be able to take it. You know, you may put that thing on there and play a game and throw up all over the thing, which I was going to mention might be, you know how you said, like, the throwing the Wii controller through the TV was like the Wii thing. This might be the new, like, people are going to be filming people playing VR and waiting for the moment they throw up and trying to capture it and put it up there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rand.
Well, let me ask you guys this real quick, because I haven't chimed in a while and I want to hear myself talk.
Nice crap.
Yeah. Let's say, like, people do buy this thing and play it. I mean, how long are they really going to play these games, these little mini games, before they start going, okay, well, let me go back to my Call of Duty or my Destiny or my Uncharted or what have you? You know what I mean? Like, this is such it's such a niche audience, you know, and, like, the people that are hyping it up, let's be honest, there's a lot of hardcore PlayStation fanboys that'll just buy it because it's PlayStation. They don't care. You know what I mean?
I don't think they'll buy it because they can't.
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, but let's check this out. Speaking of the price, people are assuming it's going to come in way under Oculus. Oculus is just the headset, right? I mean, it's counting on your PC to do all the work. Now, the PlayStation VR has its own, like, separate processor, and, you know, it's a lot more cumbersome, right? It's got a lot more wires and things like that.
Right.
It could be more expensive. I mean, wasn't it leaked for Amazon Canada?
Yeah,
$1,200. Right? $1,200. I mean, isn't that? I don't know how much that is here, but I mean that's way more expensive than $600.
They said 12. The money that it was estimated. Crap, I saw it. The price in Canada that was 12. It was about. It would be about $799.99 here. $800. That is just going to fail. And you know what's funny? If they really, you know what, this may be the best E3. I really hope I get a chance to get out there for this because I wanna stand outside so I can hear all the crying. Basically, what'll happen is you're going to hear the audience because you know the Sony audience claps at anything and they get so excited. But when they say $800, if they say $800, you're going to hear like all kinds of wacky noises and just these odd sounds coming out of the room because they can't afford it. They're always trying to appeal to a I don't want to use the word lower demographic, but they're not really trying to get that high octane customer. You know, hence all the free shit they were trying to promote and free online.
I think the way they could drop down the price is like if they take away the external processing unit and like rely only on the PlayStation 4 for
can't.
compute.
Whatever it was, Dryer, that they said they
then
can't.
the games would fall back on PlayStation 1 type games, and then and then they could come out below Oculus.
Yes, that's true.
So,
but that's a fail
something
as well.
interesting. Yeah, something interesting that I've heard from Red. I think it's Red Gaming Tech, and they said that the external processing unit is doing non-latency intensive tasks because it's working through USB 3.0. So it's almost like the Azure tech for Crackdown 3. It works the same way. So I'm thinking if they really wanted to, they could use like servers for all of that stuff. But then PlayStation VR would be online only.
Right.
Wait, Mooch. I think I might have misheard you. So you thought you think the PlayStation VR is going to be $800?
Yes.
Oh my! Can I laugh?
You can giggle all day.
Because that is the most ridiculous thing. Like, not saying it's ridiculous for you to say it, but like, if that's true, what the fuck is Sony? $800? Come on.
Listen.
Are you serious?
Well, listen, Rand. This is not a fanboy conversation. This is dollars and cents. Look at the hardware. Jamie Moran is definitely listening to the show. Jamie, if you could send out the picture that is what Sony has on their presser of everything, that table that has the headset and the wires and the processing unit. And then Rand, when he comes, if you're not following Jamie, I'll retweet it.
I am. I'm following him.
When you see this picture, look at the hardware. Okay, this stuff costs money. And again, somebody at Sony is going to say, well, can we cut the hardware price and maybe just make up for it on the software? Someone's going to say, we don't know who's buying this software. This is all unproven type of software and goods. We don't know if people are going to like it or not like it. I can't let 1 million units go out and lose a 70% margin. You understand what I'm trying to say? So if this stuff costs what I think it costs, how can they actually sell it for? I mean, maybe I'm off. I'm not saying I'm writing it in stone. I'm betting all of my money.
No, I'm not even saying you're ridiculous. I'm saying if Sony is actually going to try to sell for $800, they're ridiculous.
There are pictures.
They're ridiculous for even trying to sell for $400, dude. Like,
exactly.
So
that was
much,
what I said earlier. Even if it's $400, it's a fail.
I mean, look, man. Like, peripherals do not sell on these systems. They never have. They're not, because they're not supported, right? Like, right. And especially if you're talking a peripheral that's going to be anywhere between $400 and $800, it's DOA. Like, it is dead. Don't buy it because it's not going to be supported. And the only reason it's going to be supported is because they can just take regular games. Well, it'll be supported some ways because they can take regular games and just kind of throw in some VR bullshit. Like, it is good. It is the ultimate fad, in my opinion. If the price is what we all think it is, then fuck. Why are they even bothering now? Why not wait a few more years until they can get cost under control?
Rand, look at that picture, Rand. He just sent it out to me and you. Jamie, thank you for doing that. Just look at the pictures he just sent out. There's no way that kind of hardware is going to cost the only thing that Oculus is giving you is the eyepiece. It's giving you the headset, and it was $600. This thing has got some kind of dome cap. It's got cables. It's got that processing unit it's whatever's in that processing unit is actually the meat and potatoes of a PS4 anyway. So you're getting another console right there, let alone the headset. I don't see this thing. If anything, if Sony's really going to bend over backwards for the consumer, it'll match the Oculus Rift at $599. They will. That's, I think, the best offer. My best lowest offer is that they match it.
You know, the only advantage that Sony really has, even offering it at $600, is that they know right off the bat that 35 million PlayStations can support it, whereas with Oculus, only about 13 million PCs can support it. So they have that advantage, I guess.
Yeah, I think they'll still sell 1 million. But, you know, I think I would be surprised if they come below Oculus Rift. Really surprised. But, you know, if you have to remember, like, the people who are going to buy this thing, they're probably going to buy 3 or 4 VR games. And if Sony have like 3 or 4 VR games ready when this thing launches, then they could sell those games at $40, $50 each, and then make some of that money back in that way.
I mean,
Look at there's another picture Jamie sent out. So what you actually need for this kid is a PS4, the 2 glow sticks, the Sony Eye, the headset, the processing unit, and you've got at least 3 or 4 cables. And I know we all laugh and giggle, but even if those cables are $6 a piece, okay, it's another $20 in there, $25. It's just, and that's being frugal. You know, this is just, it's not realistic. And Sony has no games coming out. This will be their 3rd holiday where they're banking on Horizon being complete. If Horizon comes out for PS4 this holiday, like all the ponies really wanted to, it's going to be broken because they're going to rush it because they can't. I don't think they can go into a 3rd holiday without a first-party game.
So, Mooch, let me ask you this. So, do you think that, because I've thought about, I think this is true, but I'm going to ask you, do you think their heavily investment of VR is the reason why there hasn't been many exclusives on the PS4 from Sony?
That's the number one reason.
You think because like of all the money they spread around making new stuff, they just don't have the money to give to the other studios? And
Absolutely.
Wait. What do you mean a PlayStation does not have exclusives? I've seen the list.
That's true, Dryer. Yeah, Crap has a list. It's
you mean the indie exclusives where 95% are terrible?
Kuni,
yeah, it's on the back
Nino
of a
and
box.
something.
Listen, the thing about it is this: they really strapped themselves. They've hurt their customers. The only reason they're selling what they're selling is literally it's the video game butterfly effect. Okay, it's just that they came out of the gate strong, and then Tommy told John, John told Mike, Mike told Eric, Eric told Matt that I got a PS4 this gen. I got a PS4 this gen. And everybody went and bought one, and it just spreads like a wildfire in California.
And there's a lot of miscommunication.
Absolutely. And the media, and then on top of that, if Microsoft was able to just fight back like they did, we may have had a closer run here right now. Unfortunately, we don't, only because the media then took the baton and ran with it. And when you've got all that publication and the kids don't know how corny Ryan McCaffrey and that Destin Ligari and that Brian Altano, they don't know how goofy those guys are. Those guys are a bunch of corn asses. Listen, you want to sit here.
They're ass bags, man. I can't stand them.
If you want to if anybody in the comment section wants to make fun of me and Crap and Dryer and they make fun of us all day on Twitter, that's fine. But if you're gonna make fun of us, you can go right on over to their Twitter handle and make fun of them. They're just a bunch of Joe Schmoes that play video games and they were unemployed for a while. And they're like, I guess I'll try this IGN thing out. You know, they don't know any better than anybody else. They didn't go to any kind of real schooling for this. They don't know. They never programmed before. And, that's why I actually value the people on this panel. You've got Dryer Smith, who puts a lot of time and effort. He's a freelance writer. Rand has played more games than Moses. He knows everything that's going on. Literally, there's something to be said about people with experience. Crap's got over 100,000 gamer score. The man's been playing, like myself and Jay Williams, since the 80s. Listen,
and he's the most compelling of us all,
But Twitter told me Crap doesn't play games, though.
Oh, dude, well, Twitter lied, man. Twitter tells you a lot of things, man. But here's the funny thing, right? When it comes to like people on the internet, like when they talk about you nonstop, it's like they're jealous. I mean, there's lots of different reasons, but it's like I never understood those reasons. Like if I'm spending my time talking about other people, then something's wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like, I just never understood that.
I actually talked to someone today that every time I go on Twitter, I see these tweets, and I'm like, are you doing anything else than talk about these people? And yeah, it's like weird to me. And then they retweet every person who tweets their videos out about the person.
Right.
So I'm like, really? Do you have anything else in your life that you do? And
I have all them blocked, Dryer. I got them all blocked.
I got one guy who does a fake Crap Gamer thing and just like screenshots everything I say, and then like he made a blog about me. Like seriously, there's a blog and
about you.
Yeah,
but
about me.
You are compelling. I
am. Look, hey. Anytime people are talking about you nonstop, you're doing something right. Like if you're an entertainer or something, and they're not and you don't have at least some haters, then you're not doing it right. And it's not like I try to do that, but anytime you can affect somebody to where you get threats, where you get people using your picture to edit it, where you get people to harass you, where you get people to do all these things, I look at that as a badge of honor. Now, if I had nobody doing that stuff, nobody disliking my videos, I'd maybe feel a little bit bad. I actually enjoy the I actually enjoy that. I think that it keeps me. They keep me relevant, is what they do.
Yeah. I have this one guy on my articles. He comments on everything that I write. He's like, I think you responded to some of his comments on
Yeah,
my latest
I
article.
did a video
Yeah,
on your recent article, and
yeah.
then I
And
responded because he was like,
he's
he
like,
mentioned me. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the weirdest thing. He just comments everything that I tweet out. He goes into my article and like writes these extensive, uh, I almost want to say essays about everything that I said that day, and it's like weird. And then he wants to quote me, and then I'm like, did you even read what I wrote in the article itself? It's like they just spend all the
Most of them can't read, Dryer.
yeah.
In all
Don't give him too
honesty,
much credit.
yeah.
Yeah.
In all
Yeah,
honesty,
I,
the thing with Twitter
I,
though is that like we do what we do. I get on here, I do YouTube. I can't speak for crap. I only speak for myself. I get on here. I have something I would like to do. I would like to enlighten some people. I'd like them just take a look at the way I look at certain perspectives. And I don't ever go to my comments. If I go to the comments section, I'll look for some of my true fans I see. I retweet them. I talk to them. But I don't peruse it and look for the hate and this and that. I don't have any of that because I don't have time for that. To be honest with you, I'm here to do what I want to do to get my point across. The people that enjoy it can enjoy it. The people that don't enjoy it, they don't have to listen to it. My point is that, you know what I mean? So that's my take on Twitter and YouTube. But I want to change subject slightly here a little bit. I wanted to just see if maybe we want to talk a little bit about there was a couple screenshots, a couple of this and that. I thought we'd end the show with a little bit of positive stuff here and talk about we're going into February, which Mike Ibarra promised would be some new updates coming to us. Can we assume it's Cortana, or should we scale back and think it's maybe something else on the wanted list by Xbox fans? What else do we think we're going to see coming in February to the preview program? Crap, you got any ideas?
They need to kick in the preview program. It's been a while since we've gotten anything new.
A couple bug fixes came through this week, which I know is not exciting. It's not sexy, but listen.
It's exciting for me because I know that it's kind of buggy.
Yeah, there was a couple bugs that were bugging me. No pun intended. Literally, like I had this one issue where when I would go from just X1 on, and then I would switch over to TV, the screen would go blank and then just stay blank. And I had to reset the Xbox. So I think there's a couple little, but it only happened when you went to TV, never a game. Remember, this huge UI was launched in November, and then a lot of Microsoft went out for holiday. A lot of people took the month of December off. So they've been working January to get the bug fixes out.
I hope they got a kick-ass lineup of backwards compatible games for this month, though. Like they really need that.
That would be great. Yeah.
I feel like they had a lackluster one last month. A lot of people were like hating on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they need to have like some big stuff like that Call of Duty game. They need to have Halo Wars. They need to have like the Crackdown games. They need to get these games as quickly as possible done, especially the games that Microsoft publishes and has, like Crackdown. Why isn't Halo Wars?
They're saving Crackdown for Crackdown 3, and they're saving.
I understand that. I understand that, but it's like, come on, let's get these for the Forza games, all that stuff.
Here's me. You know what I'm dying for, and I said this, and it was funny because a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Mooch, great idea." I want Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 to come on back compat. I love those games. Those are really fun games. We were talking offline. I was talking to Rand about a really cool, maybe indie or something simple to pick up and just have after you're playing a AAA game, just trying to jam out on. And Left 4 Dead is actually a AAA game to a certain extent. I don't think it really plays that much. I think it's pretty simplistic, but it's a lot of fun. And I love playing those games. I'd love to see those on back compat.
I just want something to hear something from EA because I would love to have Dead Space on my Xbox One to play through that again.
Are we going to get? You guys think we're going to get Alan Wake as a gift pre-order bonus or something like that when we get Quantum Break? Or
it would make sense.
No, I don't think so.
Well, they did. So they did have that. They had that one thing where it was like, would you pre-order it? But again, obviously you can already pre-order Quantum Break because I have, and there's no incentive like that. So I don't know.
The pre-order stuff hasn't started for Quantum Break yet.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully, I would like to see them remake that possibly with new achievements because I already got all the achievements I could on it, and I want to play through it again, but I don't want to play through it again without getting achievements. I know that's cheesy, but
well, there was the rumor that the Alan Wake Remastered Edition was going to be a pre-order bonus.
Yeah. Hey, throw in that American Nightmare with more achievements too, because I really like that, but it was only 200 gamer score was the most you could get from it.
I thought they canceled the project because of the backwards compatibility. Like, why bother doing Alan Wake Remastered when you can just give people Alan Wake?
Yeah, that was my gripe with Rare Replay. I was really excited for that, and then I found out it was just a backwards compatible 360 games.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to play through like Cameo and stuff again and get new achievements, but you couldn't, So
Wait,
like,
was that for all of Rare Replay, or was that for just
no,
certain?
just for the 360 ones,
Yeah,
just for the 360.
There
games.
was a rumor. There was pretty good substantial evidence that the Mass Effect trilogy was getting remastered, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I heard that.
And then
as well.
the rumor was, as soon as Microsoft told EA that they were doing back compat, which I don't know if it's true, but this is something I had heard, that they canceled the Mass Effect remaster. Sorry, Jamie. I know you're a big Mass
Oh,
Effect
Jamie
fan.
Moran's like pissed off now. He's like,
I would love to play Alan Wake again, get all the achievements, whatever it's running at, right? Same thing with Mass Effect. But I think they're using backwards compatibility as more of a, I mean, I know this is a bad thing to say, but more of a marketing ploy.
yeah, it is.
Like Phil said, Phil did say January and February were going to be a lot better than December. So, and he said he knew people were going to give him shit for December because, in his opinion, it was bad too. But I don't know. I mean, how much do you really do with all 360 games? I mean, honestly.
Well, it depends, right? Like if they do, I would play Halo Wars backwards compatible. Like this is the thing. I don't really like using my 360 per se anymore. Like the games that I play, I'm more apt to play them on Xbox One if I can. Like I'll click to download them on my 360. The games with gold, like Dirt, whatever it was. But I've actually stopped the download on 360 and then go onto my Xbox One and just download it once it started there. You know what I mean? Because I would rather play with the Xbox One controller. So much better. It's like once you play with that, you can't go to anything else.
Yeah, I was playing a 360 game yesterday, and I couldn't. I was like, I need my Elite controller. I don't. And the 360 controller used to be the best.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, I can't even go back to the 360 now. The Elite controller is just so much better than everything else.
It really is.
Yeah, I know. It's like no matter how many times people tell us that the new Xbox One controller is bad, that thing, the new Xbox One controller and the Elite controller, those things are the best.
Absolutely.
Bar none. And I've played with the Xbox 360 one and the DS4.
The DualShock 4 feels like the way Rand just described the 360 controller in his hammer. He said, I really couldn't go back to it. The DualShock 4 plays like it actually feels worse because I don't like where the thumbsticks are. But I mean, it has that flimsiness of the 360 controller still, where the Xbox One, the Elite controller, my God, it feels like you're driving a Porsche. Like it's just unbelievably precise, and the grip is right. And I went out and I grabbed the chat pad, which I didn't realize the chat pad does drain quite a bit of battery, or it does not off of the controller. Does anybody know that off the top of their head? Seems like it does.
Not just when it's just sitting there. I mean, it just doesn't really do anything. It's just
that's what I thought. I thought it just sat there because it's not lit up.
I had it on the 360 and I kept it just hooked up all the time and loved it.
Yeah,
I think if you chat a lot on Xbox Live, then it would do that. But I don't think if you're not like one of those tweens chatting all day, then it won't do that. But I know Mooch is like always chatting.
A lot of people. I love the smart. I use Smart Glass a lot, and a lot more. What I mean by a lot is not all the features that it gives you. I use it a lot for the communication. That's how I text people via Xbox Live a lot. But now with the chat pad, I like that better. It's not that I chat during the game or I'm using it a lot during the actual gaming, but I use it a lot. Like there's a lot of times you put the game in like crap. This will make your ears bleed. But I'm playing Destiny. You're waiting for people to get on. Sorry. And like literally, so you put it on, whatever, it comes on, this and that, and you're waiting for a couple people to get in your party, this and that, for the raid, whatever, this and that. And those people are just communicating. So your phone is next to you, but your phone goes to sleep. Some wise ass on Twitter writes, Mooch, don't you know this? You can put your phone, so you can change the setting so that your phone never goes to sleep on your smart glass. But I also don't want my phone to die or explode. So I usually just leave it so it's it times out on its own. And so then somebody will write, and I'll have to flip it over, and then put my code in, and then this and that, and then go to the thing, and then I have to open it up, and you have to wait for it to connect to your Xbox One. This is nice because now when somebody sends it to me, I just hold in the Xbox logo, boom, it pop up the message. I have the chat pad already attached to the thing, and I'm just like, yo, we're already in here, where are you? Send. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, really convenient. And there's a couple of hot buttons on the bottom that you can use to program so that it does screenshots or record, X1 record that. So it's got a lot of really cool novelty to it. And what I was getting at actually was You can't make a controller heavy enough for me. I want it dense. I like that heaviness. And with the chat on there more, it actually lets the palms rest on the bottom a little bit. It doesn't interfere with the buttons at all on it, and it gives it like more of a resting feel on the Elite controller. It just feels so good. It's almost like I have the PlayStation 4. I go down to play Uncharted on it, and my God, it's just like I feel like I'm gonna break the thing in half. Like it's just such a flimsy like controller. And it was so funny because at launch, I have to keep saying this because now that I have the PlayStation, I can say it. At launch, people never said the DualShock 4 was better than the Xbox One controller, but yet it won all of the competition. Remember, every channel was like, let's compare these two, and like so they had that, and it would always win, not because it was better. It won all the time because people would say it's such an improvement over the DualShock 3. You know, if it's just a little better than a piece of shit, that doesn't mean it's better than something that's of good quality.
Well, here's the thing. They used to go, what did they actually change about the Xbox One controller? It looks almost exactly like the Xbox 360 controller, right? I mean, that was the big complaint. I can remember that damn, what was that, Rev 3?
And the funniest thing is that the light at the back and that trackpad thing, there's no support for that. And do you think there would be support for PlayStation VR if they don't even support that trackpad and the light thingy on the back?
Hey, bring up Vita to Sony, and they don't support that. That's basically where VR is going to be in a year. They're going to be like, well, third parties can do what they want with it. Oh yeah, third parties.
They'll be like, they'll issue a statement and say we are not making any more AAA experiences for the PlayStation VR, and then there would be outrage, and then there will be like, oh no, sorry, we are making some games for PlayStation VR, but you'll never hear about them.
Yeah.
And Mooch, so back to the thing about you were saying about the preview program.
Yes.
So I think we're finally going to get what I've wanted since the new dashboard. I think we're finally going to be able to see who's in parties again. Thank God.
You know, now this is something, my God, pardon my ignorance on this. Everyone has said this to me for the past year. And here's my thing. Or not past year, excuse me, especially since the new UI. I don't remember seeing the names in a party.
No, it was there.
It was, though, right?
Yeah, you could always see. But they took it out, and I'm 99% sure that it's going to be in the next update.
That's pretty cool.
So
how will we see it? How will we see it?
I'm not sure. That was the thing why it wasn't with the original update, because I don't think they knew exactly how you were going to be able to see it. But yeah, because sometimes you want to join a party, but you're not sure who's in the party. You know, and it's like, should I join? Is there someone in there that doesn't want me there? You know, so it's like
I get randoms joining my parties, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's the Crab Gamer!" I shit you not. They're like, "Holy crap, man!" They're like, "Say rack 'em up, bro. Say rack 'em up," and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?"
Well, you know, listen. That's the thing about social gaming these days. It's just like that back in the day. Let's say, Rand, you're throwing a party at your house, right? And I go to Crap. Rand's throwing a party at his house. You want to go? First thing he's going to say is, who's going to be there? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he doesn't want to go there if it's not somebody, maybe there's a bunch of people you invited he doesn't like. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to go. But it's the same thing. So it's not to take offense to it, anybody that's listening. What Rand's saying is that, you know, just before you jump head first into a party, you may want to know who the hell's in there. So exactly. I think it's a very useful feature. So I'm hoping, Rand, I know that Mike Ibarra is well aware that that's one of the, you left this off the list of things we already had.
Yeah.
So I know they try to usually attack those first.
I want the voices to come through the speakers as well too, like how they used to do. You know, because it's always fun to like record like people talking and stuff on Xbox Live. We always talk about the craziest shit, and so I think that would make kind of like an interesting kind of segment if I could do that. But right now, as it sits, you can't do that. And then you know, folders would be nice. Yeah, folders. I got like
people want background music.
Yeah, background music. Well, they've already said that's coming. I don't even know if there's anybody that's been asking for folders, but like me, I've got like 200 games on there, so it's like and like I think the backwards compatibility.
Crap, do you mean folders are actually just a better way to designate your games?
I guess a better way to designate your games is because like the 360 games are all jumbled up with the Xbox One games, and it's like I gotta scroll through like all these games and look for the particular one that I want.
Right.
You know, and that can be a little bit frustrating, you know, but especially because I just bought like they had this sale on like 5 terabyte hard drives, man. I picked one up, man, for like $110, and I was like, yeah, that's a hell of a deal, and that was already with the 2 terabyte one that I had before, and then the of course the 500 gigs that was on there. So I've got like I'm set for a little while, and you know, this way I'll be able to install all my games because as you know, if the plate you start deleting shit when you get so far, you know what I mean? So like I've had to delete a lot of stuff that maybe I wanted to go back and play, or some DLC comes out or whatever. Like I had to delete Batman, and then they come out with new DLC, and I was like, well, now I gotta fucking sit there and reinstall like 50 gigs of crap. You know what I mean? So it's like it's definitely like an interesting. Good thing is I'll never have to go through that problem on PS4 because you know doesn't have any games, so I'm pretty good with that.
Well,
but let me ask you this real quick, just on that topic. PS4 never gets any hate for not allowing external hard drives, but the max out at what 2 terabytes?
Yes.
I would have already burned through that. So what do they expect people to do on there? Is what, like keep multiple?
Keep another PS4.
Yeah, keep performing surgery and taking the thing apart. Put another.
Yeah, hey, let me take it apart.
Yeah.
But that's why the PlayStation 4 still doesn't have folders, because you will never have enough games to fit folders.
That's very
I agree.
true.
I agree with that.
Well, listen, I like to report late breaking news on the Crossfire podcast. Apparently, IGN has selected Rise of the Tomb Raider as Game of the Year 2015. I'm waiting for a link for confirmation.
For Xbox.
Xbox Game of the Year. Xbox Game of the Year.
Well, I mean, it's still something. They didn't. I didn't even know. I didn't know they knew the game was published. I wasn't sure that they knew it existed, so I was just excited to see that it's actually there.
Game of the Year was The Witcher.
Ah, they picked The Witcher. Okay.
Yeah.
Which everybody called back in May. Like I knew as soon as that game was, this is everybody's Game of the Year. Like, and so it was.
Yeah, I said that as well. I finished the game last month, and I wasn't that impressed. It was okay.
No, that's my whole thing with The Witcher. I've played The Witcher. I'm 71, 72 hours in, and I'm like 8 or 9% of the game through.
You signed a lifetime contract with that game, bro. It never ends.
It's a deal with the devil. Like, you really don't ever get out of it. It's just, and that's the thing. Listen, it's okay. The problem is that it's a little too repetitive for it to be a 475-hour game. You know what I mean? It's a little like, if you want to make it that much, you had to make each expansion or each part you develop into it a little bit different, and it's just the same thing over and over. How people can play that, I've seen people that completed it, and they're at 630, 651 hours, and they're at 100%. I'm like, that's not that I 100% games, but that's just, I mean, Rand, you didn't 100% that game, did you?
Not yet. I'm at like 70 hours.
What do you got, like 70 hours? That's it?
You got 600 left.
Well, I mean, man, there's games come out every week. I jump around to like every single game, so it's like, like you said, like Witcher just takes way too long. I'm gonna go back to it though. So.
Yeah, no, I think eventually I'll go back to it. I bought it digitally because I knew it was gonna game that I'd be playing into my, like, as soon as I retire from my job, I'll be able to finish it. So like.
You know what I was thinking of, like what things they should do for the Xbox One and bring back. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Or maybe Crap would want this too, but I wanted to return to that freaking gamerscore leaderboard, man.
Yes.
You know what? I love that thing
yeah,
because I was always
was
battling it out with people. Like, that was amazing. I really liked that. It told you how good you were doing over the last 30 days. Like, why did they take that away?
I've had talks with Mike Ybarra about it. He wants it back. Like, I don't know what he wants it back, but it's not there. So like, I was like, hey, we need 30-day leaderboard. We need to sort by monthly, yearly, all time.
Exactly.
Like I know for a fact they have this information. Like, they have the information of like, okay, they even have like the rarities. Like, you have this achievement, and only 1% of the people on Xbox have it. Like, why don't they have that for all that stuff? It would just like make the, you know,
it would make it so hardcore, is what you're trying to say, because
like,
a lot of people really get into that competition of that.
Exactly.
Like, I used to do that. I'd be like, okay, let me play some of these Telltale games because you get all 1,000 for Walking Dead season 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, okay, let me play through those, and then that month, man, I just kick everybody's ass on my friends list. You know what I mean? So yeah, well, except for Mikey Barra, that motherfucker just.
Mikey Barra was always at the top of my.
He was. I don't see how the hell that man had time to game that much, man. Like, Seriously, it's like that shit's
His
crazy.
executive
We
assistant's
should
doing
tell
it.
him. Yeah, we should tell him he should stop racking up those gamer score and give us some new features on Xbox Preview.
Yeah, you know what? I never win any of his stuff that he gives away either.
No, actually I did. I got a hack goes. I won State of Decay off. It was the only thing I've won, period, since they started this whole thing in 2013, where it's been so responsive and interactive. That's all I've won. And don't get me wrong, never look a gift horse in the mouth. Very grateful, Mike. I wish and hope he's listening. It really is. It was cool, but like these Major Nelson ones that he gives away, I mean, you got a better chance of hitting the Powerball Saturday night.
Yeah, you know what? I did get my by Aaron Greenberg. I won a Banjo-Kazooie Rare Replay backpack, right?
Yeah.
And this thing is really sweet. It's got like an Xbox One thing on it, and it says Rare Replay. I got that today from FedEx.
I've never won anything.
Yeah, Greeny's the man, because I told him, man, when he said that I won that, I messaged him inbox because he follows me on Twitter. I says, man, you're gonna get a lot of hate for giving me something, and that man told me, haters gonna hate, bro. I was like, yeah.
That was good.
I was like, exactly. At least Aaron understands that there's a lot of people that just like hate on me, or will try to bring up like some shit that I said randomly or funny or whatever, just to try and like, oh man, look at this or whatever, you know what I mean? And so I'm glad that like at least people like him and Phil know that there's like the trolls out there that do this kind of stuff and try to intentionally make you look bad, and it's not really what they try to make it look like. You know what I mean? They try to bury you or whatever, but hey, I'm still here, motherfuckers.
You're not going anywhere, crap. But you know what is this show? It's Friday night. I want to get everybody back to gaming and enjoying.
I was promised an hour show.
I know. I try. I literally wanted to break. I can go into another 5 subjects. I enjoy talking about this. But what we'll do is
I wanted to talk about Sony trying to fucking patent Let's Play. Nobody's really talking about this. Did you hear about that?
I did hear about it. I don't know much. I didn't get into it too much.
They're trying to make it so they own the rights to anybody that says Let's Play. So that I guess that would mean anybody on YouTube that did a Let's Play, like Sony would get a piece of that action. You know, it's like a very anti-consumer type situation. And I hope that YouTubers and things like that and people and gamers in general, I guess they got denied that because it's such a broad term. But that's a really scumbag move on Sony's part, man. What a fucking scumbag company that is.
They really are.
I thought they were more trying to trademark it for a marketing campaign, though. Wasn't that supposed to be?
Once they would have had the Let's Play, then they own the rights to that. Like anytime you use Let's Play on YouTube,
it's both. It's both because they're coming out saying that's the PR making it look like it's a clean move. But realistically, if you're a guy that has that YouTube channel that does those videos, then you have to either change it or pay royalty.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because King tried to trademark Candy, when they were doing Candy Crush. So
that's right.
That's right. Businesses will try to make money as best as they can.
Yeah, if Sony got that trademark, they would be like, if someone on YouTube said, let's play Halo 5 Guardians, then they would be like, strike for trademark infringement or something like that.
And I'm actually going to post a link to this in the thing because people are like, oh, you're lying, crab. We wouldn't believe Sony would do such a scumbag thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're not scumbags at all.
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay.
Oh, wow. Message removed. You can't put any fucking web addresses in there.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
That's Big Brother doing his thing. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm wrapping up this CrossFire podcast today. Like I said, it's Friday night. A lot of people got a lot of things to do. I really appreciate it. Crap, thanks for coming on. Jay Williams, thank you for coming on. Dryer in South Africa, really hard for you to get on. I do appreciate that. And Rand, thank you for taking a few minutes away to join us. It's always good to have your insight as well.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Looking forward to next week. You may see some of these usual suspects back again. There'll be something that burns my ass between now and next Friday, and we'll be talking about it here on the CrossFire podcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. See you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.